everyone, I'm Kana Taku. It's been almost 3 years since I started making this YouTube video series. Sometimes I talked about my research on PTG and other times about my personal experiences. So far, I made 62 videos, 31 in English and then 31 in Japanese. The video with the most likes is episode 20, where I talked about the scholarly writing habits I developed as a non-native English speaker. In that episode, I said I start out by typing others' papers as a warm-up, switch to my own paper while keeping the same pace, and then save the file in the middle of the sentence for the next time. The truth is, sometimes I have one more step before I do these warm-ups. I have a book that I've absolutely relied on to this day. You might expect to be a writing guide, but the one that helps me the most is called Not Nice by Dr. Aziz Gazipura. Well, let me explain. I do have several writing guides I have gone through over the years. First, I would reference APM manuals to teach me what should be included in each of the sections, how to construct headings and subheadings, how to format tables and figures, how to make a reference section, and so on. But as I became more proficient with this process, I need to reference these books less and less often, so I don't need that anymore. Second, I also read a few how to write a paper in English kind of book that were written in Japanese. Ta-da! They were helpful at the initial stages because reading these books was easy in my mother tongue. They gave me some ideas about the most common grammar mistakes that the people make when they switch from Japanese to English, and how the proofreaders, for example, marks show differently between English and Japanese. I enjoyed learning about these differences, but that's about all they gave me. Once I finished reading these books, I'm done. I still need something else to start my own writing. So third, I also read a few writing books in English as well. That's like this. I read them and then thought, yeah, that's a good point. I should definitely start my paper. It's just reading these books are fun and comfortable because it feels like I'm making some sort of progress. But this didn't really help me actually move forward and get my writing done. It's always easier and more fun to do the prep work than sitting down to do the actual writing. And that is why this book, Not Nice, has been a total game changer for me. And I have 3 reasons. Number 1, this book was written so beautifully. Each sentence is short and crisp. I needed something easy to read that still had a profound impact on me. I think it's my personality, but I've always been apologetic to others and hedged my statements before I started what I thought. Since I started reading this book, it has helped me turn one of my cultural norms on the head. I was raised that being humble is a virtue, but I never saw the negative effect it was having on my confidence when I wrote a sentence like any scientific paper. I guess I've been afraid to be arrogant when I just focus on my argument in my paper. So now, as a warm-up and reminder, I read a few pages out loud to remind myself that it's okay to not always be nice. It doesn't mean that I'm rude. It just can mean that I'm making myself clear. I need these constant reminders so I don't slip back into old habits, because Japanese writing and English writing are very different. To write the paper in English, each sentence has to be very clear. So I read a few pages to get used to the sentences that are easy to understand. Then I feel like, okay, I'm ready to do my own writing in English. Number 2, This book helps me to remember it's okay to say no to certain things without feeling guilty. It's acceptable to prioritize my work instead of immediately responding to other people's needs. This is especially important for me since writing in English takes me twice as long it would for native speakers. I don't have two kanas to help me make it go faster. Not to mention, I still have other aspects of my job to complete in English as well as in Japanese. That is why it is so critical to set boundaries and say no to others. However, I still have a kind of responsibility that makes me think that I should be prioritizing others instead of myself. This book helps me reframe that to prioritize my own work. It even has sample sentences of how to say no properly and politely. I'm often concerned about saying no without accidentally being too direct, since English is not my first language. This book helps me still feel respectful without letting others dictate my time. This even shows up in simple ways like purposefully ignoring my emails during times that I have set aside for writing. I've learned two types of responsibility from this book. Immediately prioritizing others' emails to have a quick response time for them is actually causing me to be irresponsible for my own work. Number 3. My entire academic career has been about seeking approval. This started with probably middle school or maybe elementary school and high school, college, my master's thesis, and goes through the doctoral dissertation committee, tenure, and promotion to professor. Everything goes back to a series of approvals from others. The same goes for publications. It requires approval from editors and reviewers before it can be accepted for publication. So I tend to try harder to be a perfectionist over small grammatical choices and trying to guess how people will take my work. But it can be very hard for me to read the tones or nuances in the editor's comments. And yet, I think I tried hard to please the reviewers and editors in order to get the paper published. This book helped me realize that I was not focused so much on improving the quality of my work as I was focused on pleasing others to make myself feel comfortable by avoiding conflict. This book helps me recognize that trying to please others was just an excuse. The book actually includes a step-by-step process to resist my own impulse to please others and seek approval. It is about being comfortable with the uncomfortable notion that I'm not responsible for how others will react. This is a huge wake-up call for me. Now when I get negative comments on my work, I can kind of speak up for myself and be okay with disagreement. Disagreement used to make me uncomfortable, but I'm getting kind of used to it and more comfortable with it without being apologetic or intimidated. So my point is, we just have to know when we write well and when we don't write well. I write best when I can focus, and I don't write well when something bothers me. And that something is rooted in my unlimited desire to be liked and approved. In order to be approved, I try to avoid conflict and be nice, which started a negative cycle. So this book helps me break this cycle on my own. Again, everybody has different reasons why we are not writing a paper right now. But overall, it's because we choose to do something else other than writing. All you gotta do is just open your file and start typing. That's what writing is all about. But we know it's hard. A blank sheet of paper is intimidating, and that's why I need a routine. Not just intellectually, but also a physical kind of reputation and psychological preparation. So thanks for watching. Hope you find this interesting. I'll see you soon.